Hey everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to animate text in Blender. And we're going to recreate this scene from this video, which is the beginning part of the Lolicami dance, where it has the text appearing one by one and bouncing up and down. Alright, to start off, let's create the background for this first, which is the orange gradient in the back. Let's add in a plane. And we're going to rotate the plane on the x-axis by 90 degrees. And let's scale it on the x out a little bit and scale it on the z. So make a rectangle. All right, that's looking good enough. And then we add in the material. Let's go to our shader editor here. New material. On background. And let's delete the principal BSDF and add in a emission shader, gradient shader, mapping node, and texture coordinate. Let's connect generated to vector and vector to vector and the color here. See what this looks like. So right now we have it starting from the left. So let's also add in a color ramp. And if you move it to black, we have it, we can control it from left to right. But we want it from top to bottom because this is dark orange here and white here. So we have to rotate it on the z-axis by 90 degrees. Oh, that was minus 90 degrees. All right. And then let's change this to B-spline. And we just have to just switch this with the white at the bottom. Top part, we can just choose to make it orange. This on the bottom. There we go. Around halfway. All right, so next we're going to add in the text. So to do that, we're going to add in a geometry node modifier. So let's go to geometry node editor. Add a new geometry nodes for this text. And to get our text, we need to add in a text string to curves node. So what this does, if we add this here, this will turn your string into curves. So put in a text here, and then the text will appear on your screen as whatever you type in. And you can also change the size or spacing, all that stuff. You have different words, space here. You can change the space line if you have different paragraphs, or how big the box is. So let's copy this text here. This is in Japanese, so we're just going to copy and paste this. And paste this in here. All right, and then you notice that nothing happens because our font is not in Japanese, so let's change our font. We're just going to pick a Japanese font. I'm going to pick this one. Now we see the font. All right, so now that we have the font, now we have to make the spacing and the size like we have it in the original reference here. So we can change the size a little bit smaller. I think 0.8 is good, and the character spacing 0.8 is good. We also want to center this, so put this in the middle. It starts up there, and then we also want it from the left, starting from left to right. Now we want also for each character to appear from left to right. So to do that, we're going to need to add in a slice string node. And let's copy this text in here and connect it to the string. What this is the length is how many characters is your text. So we only have 4 characters, so it's only up to 4. And if you put it to 1 or 0, it'd be nothing. The first one will be this character, second one, third one, fourth one. The position is where it starts. So we want to start at 0 position. This is 0. And you put position 1 or start at position 1, which is this one. We want to start at 0. So we're going to use this to animate each character appearing one by one by doing this. So now we also want to center this, and we also want to bring in our backgrounds to we're going to have so we know where to position. So let's put in a join geometry node. So this is our plane, and let's put in a transform node too, transform geometry here, and then we're going to move it on the X to the middle here, around here. And we also wanted to bring it out a bit. It's right on the plane itself. A little bit out. 1. Okay, and then we also want to now we also want to fill it in. So to do that, we have to put in a fill curve. And let's put it in between so we have actual mesh on this. Okay, so next let's increase, make this a little taller. The scale. Times 2 is good. Okay, so this is the base of what we have now. Now we have to add in the nodes that would transform each character. So see, this thing scales up and it rotates, and it also moves its position. So to do that, let's add in scale instances and rotate instances and translate instances. Let's put this in here. What this does is that this will scale each instance individually, because this is an instance. This is going to rotate each instant, and this is going to move each instant. Okay, so now we also want to have only this affect one character. So to do that, we want to have only one character appear. So we're going to use a separate geometry and put it to instant. And then we're going to use this selection socket here to only choose the position of whatever character we need. So in order to get the position, we have to get the index of the string. So the index, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And we're going to get a math node to compare with this as integer, with this as the index. We also want to make it equal because we only want to equal one result. This is going to be equal to 0, which is going to be the first one. When you plug this in, this scale will only scale the first character. And this, you plug it in this one, it will only rotate the first character. Same with here. And then you plug in a separate geometry, it will only show the first character. Because each character is only appearing one at a time. We only want it once. So now we just have to duplicate this 4 times until one for each character, because each character is moving differently each time. So we're going to have to manually animate each one, which is not that much because it's only 12 frames, but we're going to do it this way. Let's select this, all these 5 nodes. If you do Control Shift D, it's going to duplicate it with the socket still attached. Let's do it one for each area. So we have 4. All right, and then we're going to change this to each position, and we're going to join them all. Let's join geometry and join all these 4. All right. So now that we have all our nodes that we need to animate, we can start animating this. So in order to animate, let's go to our timeline, the dope sheet, and put in our position to see which character appears at what point. So to do this, we're going to press I to insert a keyframe. So at this point, there's only one character. You move 2 frames, 3 frames. At frame 5, maybe the second one appear, and you press I again. Alright, let's to make this easier, turn on auto keying, so we don't have to press I each time. And the third one appears here, next frame, and the fourth one appears here. Alright. Okay, that's good for this node. And for the rest of the nodes, let's add in a keyframe at the start for start at 0. Alright. Alright, and then the other thing we want to do is let's press A to highlight everything. And we're going to highlight all the keyframes and make the interpolation mode constant, because you don't want any interpolation here, and there is no interpolation in the original video. Okay, so let's go back to frame 1 and it's down. So we notice here that it scales and squishes down on the first frame. So we're just going to turn down the Y down here. There's also one other thing that And dimension is that when you scale it, it scales from this point here. We don't want it to scale from that point here. We want it to scale in the center. So to change that, we have to change this. So if we change the center, the x-axis, it can scale moving from, we can offset the center to the middle. So we want to set this to 0.15. So that's around the center that we need. Actually, let's do this for the other ones too. Set this to 0.15. Okay, let's go back here on frame 1. We're on frame 1. Squish it down. Okay, let's go to the next frame. On frame 3, it goes back up. But it also squishes on the X. And then on this frame, frame 5, it rotates on the Z. And it also keeps switching more up. And then on frame 7, when it goes back down here, kind of out here, a little bit up, rotates to the left. This one, it actually goes down a little bit. And then this here. And it kind of, I think this is just stations out. Goes back to 0. All right, that's the end of it, 17. All right, this one, it also scales back a little bit. All right, so we can fine tune it. Later, I'm just going to do a rough keyframe in the beginning. Let's move on to the next character, which starts at frame 5. Oh, this one we put wrong. All right, so let's go back here. And this one's supposed to be at 2. This one is also 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was a mistake. Those are at frame 5. All right. This one, it goes down on the Y. Smaller. Back up in the middle. Again. Out. Rotates. In the middle. And the last one is or this one shrinks a little bit, but then it goes back here. All right, that's second character done. Let's go to the next one. We'll start at frame 7. This one brings down here to here. It was for skinny. Back to rotate that. Then rotates back the other way. It down. A bit smaller. From here to here is a little bit change. Not that much. I think this here, it just changes back to normal. Oops. All right. Okay, and then the last character, which appears here. Move on to the last one. Shrink this down all the way. To the left. It's up here. Shrink it this way. Frame is more highish. Last frame. And okay. We have all our keyframes set. You can spend more time to get the exact bounce that you want, but for now I'm just going to stop here. Now we're going to add in the material for each character. So let's go to our material have here. We have background right now. We're going to add in another one for, name this, we have two colors. We have a yellow color and another one which is an orange color. All right, for the yellow color, we can, let's change this to our, add another view for a shader editor. And we just have to change the emission. Just add an emission shader and choose the color to be yellow part. And for orange one, we do the same thing. And in emission, change this orange. Okay, so in order to set the material for each of our instances, we have to put in a set material node. Put it right after here. And we're just going to put in yellow, which is this one. And the other one, which is orange. And this one is also yellow, and this one is orange. Okay. Move this here. All right, so then the next part is that there's this outline here, this white outline that we have here on this, and plus the shadow here. We can also do that using the materials. But let's make the outline first. In order to do that, we're going to have to add in another mesh as an outline over on top of this. What we can do is add in a curve to mesh. So, and we want it to be before we actually fill in the curve. So I'm gonna use this as the curve, and we're gonna join it here so we can see what it looks like. And as a profile of the curve, we're gonna use a curved line. Not curved line, a curved circle. And let's turn down the radius all the way. We want it to be 0, 0, 1. Too many zeros. Yep. All right, so this is going to be our outline for our character. Each text character, and we have to have one for each one, so let's just combine them all. All right. And we also need to make a material of this because it's not just white, it's also white and has a black outline. Let's add another material and call it outline. All right, in order to make this outline, we're going to, let's delete this and add in a layer weight node, a color ramp node, and then emission. We're going to use the facing and color here. So in order to see what's going on, we have to put the sim material. Let's copy this one and make it outline. We want this to be not supposed to be sure. Oh, here we go. We have this outline here that's black and white. Maybe this has to be a little bit thicker than 2. Yeah, there we go. Or maybe 3. 3 seems good. And I don't think this should be like a grayish color too. It's not exactly fully white. Well, so now that we can try to make the shadow now, in order to do that, we're just going to have an instance of this text just on the background. So to do that, let's have it an instance to points, and we're going to use a mesh line as the points. We're going to use this as our instance. Let's put this as join geometry. Right now we have the Z location offset, so that's why it's pointing out. So let's put this to 0. All right, and we also want to have an offset on the Y by minus 0.01. We don't want it that much, just a little bit. And we also want it on an angle, so we have to move this one too. Let's put this one to 0.101. And we also want it to be in the back at 0.01. Otherwise, it's just going to be right on top of this. And then right now it's just yellow because it's taking the first material. So let's put in a new material. shadow. And let's make an emission to black. And let's add the material here. Shadow. Okay. And let's see, this is this is probably still right on the plane, so let's bring this out a little bit. Okay, that's good. So it's not, we don't want it exactly on the plane. Back on plane. Okay, so this is pretty much it. So if we just replay our timeline, we can have our animation. So this is just a few things we can do with this. So Blender does have the capability of animating text. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.